There currently or historically has not been a treatment for homocysteine problems. Homocysteine is interesting. Probably a third of the population has a high homocysteine level. I'm going to give you some earth-shattering landmark information in this video. No one has any idea how many SNPs cause this. I'll tell you it's 17 that I know of. It's in the book, each SNP is detailed. If any one of those 17 are homozygous, it shuts down your transsulfuration pathway, and you're going to have a high homocysteine. If it's not high, it's because you're malnourished. Some people don't have any of those 17 SNPs, and they have a high homocysteine. Why is that? Well, there are 12 vitamin deficiencies also that can cause a high homocysteine level. I know, it gets crazy. So this is really a handbook for cardiologists and primary care and internists, but it's highly detailed research like I always do. I spent the last few years digging into it. You can't lower homocysteine other than through malnutrition. They tried that approach for about 40 years, I think. 2002, they realized people were dying more quickly from being malnourished than, especially those critical vitamins, more so than just the homocysteine. So homocysteine causes heart attacks, strokes. We've all had or heard of people in their 18s, 19s, 20s, whatever, keeling over from a heart attack. This is before what happened the last few years, which I won't mention on here. There's debate on this, but I think it's the one cause of end-stage renal disease. Certainly there's other physicians who say that, not just me. That means kidney failure. And so if you catch them early enough, they go into kidney failure and get them on the proper treatment for the homocysteine problem, you can really help that. What is the proper treatment? Well, I'm going to give you the punchline. If you have a high homocysteine level, you're going to have a low glutathione level. On the intracellular testing, it's not always shows up as low, but it mostly does. I'd say 70-80% of the time it'll show up as low when I expect it to. Or it's a giveaway. I'm like, why are you using up your glutathione or not making enough? That's the question that's got to be asked at that point. Glutathione and homocysteine are two sides of the same transsulfuration pathway coin. So transsulfuration pathway is how you detox. That's how you get rid of heavy metals, organotoxins, things like that, crazy things that you don't want in your system. So if you feel toxic, inflamed, and it's getting worse every year, and you're in your 40s or 50s, and really, no one can explain it. Homocysteine also, I don't think anyone knows this either, which is crazy. I'm sure there are some experts who know it. I haven't met them, but it does cause high hsCRP. Also causes high D-dimer, also can increase a WESR, Western sedimentation rate. So if you have those and they're elevated, ask for homocysteine. If your homocysteine comes back above 7.3, don't believe the lab range, it's bogus. Anything above 7.3 is high, in my opinion, because you're gonna have a high IL-8. What is IL-8? Homocysteine does not affect you directly. It causes your white blood cells, monocytes to be more specific, to release two cytokines, interleukin-8, IL-8, and monocyte chemoprotectant 1, MCP-1. IL-8 is easy to check. You can get that test at any lab test now and check your IL-8 if you're worried or if you have a high homocysteine level. If it's in the high 200s or 300s, you're probably in renal failure or about to be there. I'll tell you that. And from what I've seen, doctors don't even check homocysteine anymore because they don't believe there's a treatment for it. I'm going to prove it wrong. The last 3 or 4 years, a lot of research has come out about glutathione. Glutathione, the opposite of homocysteine. It's strange how higher power does all that. But homocysteine is the opposite of glutathione, and glutathione is the opposite of homocysteine. But if you have a high homocysteine, you're going to have a high IL-8, and you're going to have a low glutathione level. But some people aren't low. So they were able to see those people that inherently have really high glutathione levels, and they didn't have any inflammation from the high homocysteine. Matter of fact, they didn't have any IL-8 or any MCP-1 or other things in their system. And so they figured out that glutathione stabilizes the monocytes and prevents the release of the cytokines. Now we come in because we have the only oral patented glutathione in the world, our VARS Glutathione. VARS stands for validatable, absorbable, reduced, and stable. And that's the rules we had for creating a proper antioxidant when we were doing our work in Southern California. So if you're not VARS compatible, and there are very few things that are. That means you don't have a reduced, stable, easily takeable, ingestible antioxidant, so it's just not going to work. Reduction of antioxidants are critical, and I think no one's ever figured that out till we came along. All the work we did down there, and then the work I'm doing now with homocysteine. So you got two options: Glutaril, which is oral pharma, or Niam's product, is topical spray on. That can work, but our glutathione works too. We have hundreds of results. Here's one here. Sorry, it's kind of worn out because I showed it to patients, but it's where high IL-8 dropped to 0 after 4 weeks, right here. So yeah, after 4 weeks, and there's nothing that does that. There is nothing else on the planet that does that. They're trying to figure out other things that can do it, but they're going to be incredibly expensive and full of side effects, from what I can tell. And I talk about those things in the book. This is going to be more for cardiologists and primary care and physicians. I'll do a public version too. I'll do a handbook for cardiologists also, or primary care physicians. We're going to have a lot of fun with this book. It's going to be a big deal. A friend of mine who's the editor for a number of national journals and a very famous physician himself says the biggest cardiology book that's come out in the last 20 years, he thinks. So we'll see what it looks like when it's done. It's pretty much done. We're just putting the chapters together, getting it ready for publication. I think I'm going to submit it to a medical book publishing house just to see what they do. So that's my story today. Just want to update you guys on all this. If you have a lot of inflammation, try the VARS Glutathione. It won't hurt. It is a supplement, but it's a lot more than that. Clearly, we have patents all over it and all over the world on it. It's pretty crazy what it does. And so if you try 4, 5, 6, 8 a day, see if your inflammation goes away, then back it down and see if it comes back. You can find your number that keeps it under control. Anyway, you're just hearing from me. This is Dr. Dan Purser. Thanks for listening.